everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra, the TBR0, and my goal is to lessen my physical TBR one book at a time, and you are going to help me out with that today. Even though the TBRathon for January isn't over yet, I am already thinking ahead into February, and I happen to be a co-host for a very cool Readathon that's hosted by Harini over at Harini Blue Reads. It is Battle of the Girl Bands. Last February, she hosted Battle of the Boy Bands, and so she switched things up. We've got 4 iconic girl bands to choose from, and they include TLC, Cheetah Girls, Spice Girls, and Destiny's Child. I happen to be a co-host of TLC, so if you already sound interested about this readathon, I'll make sure to have the announcement video below where Harini can tell you all about the Discord, the rules, the prompts, and everything else under the sun about it. I'm really looking forward to this, and I already have some prompts having books fulfilled for them, but there are still those that I'm in between 2 books. I don't know which one to read, and that's where you come in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you with the prompt, the 2 books that I'm in between, read each synopsis, and then it'll be up to you to let me know which one I should read. I will make sure to have an emoji associated with each book title to make things easier in case you don't want to write out the titles or you can't really remember what they are, because I'll be speeding through these, hopefully, because I don't really think this should be a very long video, but who knows? You know, Leandra the TBR0 is not known for being succinct and short, even though I always try to be. Interesting. Anyways, let's get into these prompts and let me know which ones I should read. So I'm actually really excited for this process because this is the first time I've ever asked subscribers to decide my TBR. I think that if it ends up being fun, if you all enjoy it and you want me to do more of it, I'll make sure to include it more throughout the year. I've never had a big enough audience where I thought that it warranted asking you all for help, but now that you're here, I feel like it could be really fun to involve you. So you let me know if you want me to do this more often. Okay, first prompt. So this is worth 10 points. It's one of the lowest prompts, I guess lowest being like easiest, being worth the least, but I still want to participate in it because I realized I have a lot of books that fulfill it on my shelves, and that is a book with a doctor in it. Obviously, this is inspired by the TLC song No Scrubs, which is consistently rent-free in my head all the time. I absolutely love that song. It's probably my favorite of the TLC musical canon, we'll call it, and I've got 2 books for you to choose between. One of them is Nook by John Dixon Carr. Now, I definitely took a spin on doctor as far as PhD goes, because nothing in the prompt said that it had to be a medical doctor. So maybe I found a loophole, and I'm going to 100% take advantage of that. So this is a Golden Age mystery. It's the first following Dr. Gideon Fell. He is the amateur sleuth in this specific mystery series. It says, the Starbirths die of broken necks. So goes the legend in the village of Chatterum. The family have been wardens of Chatterum Prison for many generations, and each male heir must spend the night of his 25th birthday there alone. Marin Starbirth has just turned 25 and is going to go through with the ritual. Meanwhile, after a chance encounter on a railway platform, Marin's sister Dorothy has fallen in love with young American graduate Tad Rampole, who is in Lincolnshire visiting Dr. Gideon Fell. Fell, a renowned lexicographer, did I say that right?
Lexicographer.
I think I did. Is one of the greatest institutions in England. A good old boy who loves melodrama, slapstick comedies, and beer. When Marin Starbirth is found dead the following day, Dorothy, Tad, and the doctor must solve one of the most cunning plots ever contrived. Nook, the first of Dixon Carr's Gideon Fell mysteries, is packed with suspense, humor, and atmosphere. John Dixon Carr is known for having a lot of atmospheric, kind of dark, supernatural possibilities in his locked room mysteries, including the fact that he does infuse humor. I've only read 1 book by him before, and it did involve a legend, it involved tarot cards, but also a lot of absurdity. So yeah, this is option 1. And for this one, because the prison looks kind of like a castle, is there a castle emoji? Yeah, we'll do a castle emoji for this one. The second option that you could potentially vote for the doctor in a book also is leaning on the fact that we have an academic doctor involved. So here we are, what can I say? I have a type, and that is The Lost World by Michael Crichton. I have this really cool Folio Society version, and the edition has awesome end pages. There's also illustrations within. I know that there's an illustrated map of the island, as well as some really beautiful artwork of the dinosaurs. So I think it's going to be a really interactive experience. It's going to be really fun. Obviously, I come from a generation where my first experience with Jurassic Park were the movies, and I've seen all of them. Obviously, the first one is the most nostalgic, but the second one is also quite fun for what it's worth, especially because who doesn't love Dr. Ian Malcolm? He is played by the hottie Jeff Goldblum, and I will never not adore him on screen. So The Lost World is the second book in the Jurassic Park series. It does follow Ian Malcolm, the kind of sarcastic bad boy of the mathematician world, if that really does exist. And here's the synopsis for you. It is now 6 years since the secret disaster of Jurassic Park, 6 years since the extraordinary dream of science and imagination came to a crashing end. The dinosaurs destroyed, the park dismantled, the island indefinitely closed to the public. There are rumors that something has survived. ... Obviously, for The Lost World, the emoji associated with that one is going to be a dinosaur. So as far as the doctor prompt goes, either a castle or a dinosaur. Which book should I read? On to round 2. This prompt is worth 20 points, and I'm surprised I actually have books that feature this setting. I think it probably should be worth more points, if I'm going to be honest, because this was really hard, and I only could think of 2 books that I've read previously that fulfill this prompt, and that is a setting in Georgia. I don't think there are too many books that are set in Georgia, if we're going to be honest, but I happen to have 2 on my TBR, which was crazy. One of them is A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. This is nonfiction, which is quite fascinating. I honestly only looked at my nonfiction shelves after perusing all of my fiction and realizing that I couldn't find anything else with a Georgia setting beyond the other one that I have in my lap right now. I'm trying to read more nonfiction this year and especially get back into environmentalism, so this is a great option for me if we're thinking about it. But here is the synopsis. Back in America after 20 years in Britain, Bill Bryson decided to reacquaint himself with his native country by walking the 2,100-mile Appalachian Trail, which stretches from Georgia to Maine. The Appalachian Trail offers an astonishing landscape of silent forests and sparkling lakes, and to a writer with the comic genius of Bill Bryson, it also provides endless opportunities to witness the majestic silliness of his fellow human beings. For a start, there's the gloriously out-of-shape Stephen Katz, a buddy from Iowa along for the walk. Despite Katz's overwhelming desire to find cozy restaurants, he and Bryson eventually settle into their stride, and while on the trail, they meet a bizarre assortment of hilarious characters. But A Walk in the Woods is more than just a laugh-out-loud hike. Bryson's acute eye is a wise witness to this beautiful but fragile trail, and as he tells its fascinating history, he makes a moving plea for the conservation of America's last greatest wilderness. Last Great Wilderness. An adventure, a comedy, and a celebration, A Walk in the Woods is destined to become a modern classic of travel literature. Yeah. And the emoji associated with this one is going to be a bear. Going a very different route, the other option that, according to a review, does have a setting of Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's because the CDC is probably involved in it, and that is The End of October. This is by Lawrence Wright. I bought this book back in 2020. I don't really know why I bought it when I did, because of what was happening in the world, because it is also involving an epidemic. So, the synopsis for this one is, pause for dramatic effect. At an internment camp in Indonesia, 47 people are pronounced dead with acute hemorrhagic fever. When epidemiologist, oh my gosh, he's also a doctor, epidemiologist. When epidemiologist Henry Parsons travels there on behalf of the World Health Organization to investigate, what he finds will have staggering repercussions. At the same time, halfway across the globe, the Deputy Director of U.S. Homeland Security scrambles to mount a response to the rapidly spreading pandemic, leapfrogging around the world, which she believes may be the result of an act of biowarfare. And a rogue experimenter in man-made diseases is preparing his own terrifying solution. As already fraying global relations begin to snap, the virus slashes across the United States, dismantling institutions, scientific, religious, governmental, and decimating the population, With his own wife and children facing diminishing odds of survival, Henry travels from Indonesia to Saudi Arabia to his home base at the CDC in Atlanta, searching for a cure and for the origins of this seemingly unknowable disease. It's a one-of-a-kind thriller steeped in real-life political and scientific implications, filled with the insight that has been the hallmark of Wright's acclaimed nonfiction and the full-tilt narrative suspense that only the best fiction can offer. Interesting. I didn't realize that he was known for his nonfiction as well. For this one, we'll do A Pink Heart, which might sound weird, but that's the first thing that came to my head. So as far as Atlanta, Georgia, a Georgia setting goes, should I read A Walk in the Woods, bear emoji, or The End of October, A Pink Heart? The third prompt that I need assistance with is worth quite a bit. It's actually worth 40 points, and it involves having an author that is either BIPOC or LGBTQ+. So for this one, I decided to try to make the two books as balanced as possible, both being from the same genre, same part of my TBR, and both of them involve BIPOC authors. So the first one is by Vanessa Riley. It is Murder in Westminster. This is a historical mystery. It's the first book in a brand new series. I have an ARC for the second one, and this was gifted to me. I guess it wasn't really gifted to me. I won it in a Goodreads giveaway, my first and only ever win, if we're gonna be honest. And I have been meaning to read it because I can't read the second book, obviously. Well, I could, because with mysteries it's not as important for you to read them in order, but I want to. The synopsis is: smart, witty, and refreshingly diverse, this new Regency setting series from acclaimed author Vanessa Riley combines her signature emotional richness and attention to detail in a historical mystery featuring a strong, clever, and captivating heroine. Discovering a body on her property presents Lady Abigail Worthing with more than one pressing problem. The victim is Juliet, the wife of her neighbor, Stapleton Henderson. Although Abigail has little connection with the lady in question, she expects to be under suspicion. Abigail's skin color and her mother's notorious past have earned her a certain reputation among the ton, and no amount of wealth or status will eclipse it. Abigail can't divulge that she was attending a secret pro-abolition meeting at the time of the murder. To her surprise, Henderson offers her an alibi. Though he and Juliet were long estranged and she had a string of lovers, he feels a certain loyalty to his late wife. Perhaps together he and Abigail can learn the truth. I am really excited about this. It seems really great. I love when historical mysteries can provide diversity, that authors who are BIPOC are taking the stride to do that, because it's been too often that we see historical mysteries that are very whitewashed, oftentimes because it's a whitewashed market by white authors. So I really love that Vanessa Riley has done this. She really didn't have to. We should have been making the effort before her, but I'm really looking forward to it. So for this one, maybe, what should the emoji be? With Regency, how about we do a dress emoji? Like one of those really fancy dresses, because I'm trying to remember what emojis exist out there, and that's what we're gonna go with. The next book is very similar in the fact that it is a historical mystery by a BIPOC author. I actually have read a book by this author before, the first in the series, and this is the second. So the first one was The Bangalore Detectives Club, and this is by Harini Nagendra. The second book is called Murder Under a Red Moon. I'm pretty sure book 3 is out as well, but I was gifted this book by the publisher, including the ARC for the first book, so I really want to get back to it, especially because I really did love the couple that featured in this. It's interesting, this isn't a couple, but it is a man-woman duo trying to investigate a crime. Meanwhile, this is also that they are a younger couple. They had an arranged marriage, and when the first book started, they'd only been together for about 6 months, and so they're really getting to know each other still, and so I'm thinking the same will happen here, but they're so supportive and it's very sweet. So the synopsis for this one is: when new bride Kaveri Murty, I think it's Murty, it might be Murthy, but I'm pretty sure it's Murty, reluctantly agrees to investigate a minor crime to please her domineering mother-in-law during the blood moon eclipse, no less. She doesn't expect, once again, to stumble upon a murder. With anti-British sentiment on the rise, a charismatic religious leader growing in influence, and the fight for women's suffrage gaining steam, Bangalore is turning out to be a far more dangerous and treacherous place than Kaveri ever imagined. and everyone's motives are suspect. Together with the Bangalore Detectives Club, a mixed bag of street urchins, nosy neighbors, an ex-prostitute, I forgot about that, and a policeman's wife, Kaveri once again sleuths in her sari and hunts for her clues in her beloved 1920s Ford. But when her life is suddenly put in danger, Kaveri realizes that she might be getting uncomfortably close to the truth. So now she must draw on her wits and find the murderer, ... before the killer finds her. For this one, we'll do a moon emoji. And yeah, of course, we've got, some anti-British fervor in this because it is during the British occupation, during the British Raj. And then we also have a bit of like abolitionist themes going on. Very like pro-feminist writing here. We love to see it. Either give me a kind of Regency era dress or a moon in the comments. Which one should I read? And finally, the last prompt that I'm going to be asking for help is worth 50 points, and that is a book whose title starts with a T. This was actually really hard for me because I tried to not choose a book that started with the, this, other words that are more like articles. So I ended up perusing my shelves and found 2 books that are both Golden Age mysteries. So it's very exciting that I'm trying to, at least with some of these, make it a hard choice because they have so many similarities in common. The first book that I thought of was Three Sisters Flew Home by Mary Fitt. This is a British Golden Age novel, and I don't know anything about the author, if I'm going to be honest. This is going to be a new to me experience. So the synopsis is, not every woman can collect her dethroned lovers and their wives into one room. But then Clarabelle was not every woman. Things happened at her parties, and so one swallowed the latest bait and joined all the other poor fish. But having given her party, having collected her bevy of expectant friends, having presented 3 mysterious beauties, it was painfully bad tactics to make them play a murder game. All sorts of curious things were liable to happen when one let loose such a motley throng in a darkened house. So it was Clarabelle's fault, and she had only herself to blame when things did happen. A fairy tale with a sting in its tail. And there's a little quote here. It says, "You must admit, I make a good murderer. Nobody thinks of me." Ooh, it seems very fun. A murder game in a house and just like close quarters. And this was actually originally published in 1936. So this is option 1, and we'll do like a dagger emoji for that one. But who is Mary Fitt's competition? That is Craig Rice. She's a woman writer from the American Golden Age, and the book I'm thinking about is Trial by Fury. This was published in the 1940s. I've read multiple books by her before, so it's more of a new to me author versus a kind of like comfort author. And here's the synopsis. The little town of Jackson, Wisconsin hadn't had a murder in 32 years. That was before Jake and Helene Justice, who are hunting for a fishing license, arrive at the county courthouse just as an unknown party elects to shoot ex-Senator Peevely. Rather than ask embarrassing questions of any of the town's leading citizens, bumbling Sheriff Kling decides that the new arrivals are likely suspects and throws Jake into jail. Helene sends to Chicago for help, and the couple's best friend, the little lawyer John J. Malone, is shortly on the scene. Small towns have large secrets, and as soon as the trio begin to investigate, skeletons start turning up, and not just in closets. In the course of tracking down a murderer, Helene organizes a search for Jake. Jake learns the hazards of dollar gin, and Malone, who has laryngitis, faces down a lynch mob with the assistance of Hercules, a wonder bloodhound. Aw, that sounds very fun. This is the 5th book in the John J. Malone series, and I've read the first 4. So as I said, it's more of a difference between a new to me author versus one that is tried and true. For this one, we'll do a dog emoji. So dagger or dog, the choice is yours. I'm worried that the space on my phone is going to be eaten up very quickly, so this is going to be a very short outro. Thank you all for watching to the end. Thank you for voting in the comments if you do so. Remember, there are 4 options. I am really looking forward to knowing what books I should be reading for Battle of the Girl Bands, whether you're participating or not. I would love you to weigh in. Let me know also if you enjoy the fact that I'm letting you choose my TBR and if I should do that more often. Thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!